Got caught up out there for a second, so I'm sorry. I was trying to get here as quick as I could. Um, I didn't think we played great tonight. It was just kind of one of those nights. It felt like there was a lid on it from the start of the game. I mean, we had, God, we're about to go grade the tape here in a second, but it felt like how many layups you're going to miss, how many times you're going to get it to 2 feet and get it stripped, and how many times you're going to have a silly turnover. And give Bryant credit. I mean, they beat Florida. They beat a really, I mean, they beat the top 25 team on the road, kind of doing that. And then when they beat Florida Atlantic 3 weeks ago or so, so they do frustrate you, and they do some different things, right? They play five guards. Um, they most everybody on the floor shoots the basketball first, and the guys that don't are really good off the bounce from the perimeter. Timberlake's an interesting matchup because he's like the one guy on the court that doesn't shoot it most of the time, but he's a terrific passer and playmaker, and he's really good at finishing around the basket. And we saw him at Memphis, so it's obviously he's had success in the American at a high level, and he's an interesting matchup for our front court, or any high major front court for that matter. But at the same time, I thought we had plenty of chances there early, and it just felt like one of those nights where nothing was going our way, and I didn't think we handled that very well. And then I thought we handled it much better in the second half. And it wasn't like we came out of halftime and it just all went our way, but I thought we had a better attitude and approach. And then eventually you kind of find a way to bust the game open. But I was not pleased with our play. I'll be honest, we're pretty hungover from Saturday. This group's pissed. Obviously I'm pissed, and uh, you take those kind of losses hard. We take them all hard as coaches. This group took that loss harder than any team I've had take a loss since I've been here. They're pissed. And they practiced we had one of our best practices of the year yesterday. I thought we'd come out and play unbelievable today. They're pissed off, but I think we addressed some things from that game, and it had us a little gun shy, or maybe not as confident tonight. I think big picture, that's good because some of those things needed to be addressed, but we hadn't quite gotten through that process yet to get confident again. And I think we can. We got to get confident again. But they were pissed, and deep down, I like that about this team because I'm pissed too. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I didn't think we played great tonight, but I was pleased with how we handled things in the second half.
Do you think the hangover thing there is something to that of maybe even especially with a short turnaround where you don't have as much time to get it out of your system before you're back out there?
Yeah, I mean, again their mood not been good, not in a negative way, like in the kind of way you want as a coach. Like I'm like asking the assistants the last couple of days, uh, they don't seem like themselves, and they're like, well, they're pissed off about the game and how they played. And well, good, I am too. That's what I said to them because shoot, I'm pissed too. I ain't myself either, And then we practiced yesterday, and I was really curious to see how they'd handle practice because we had a really hard film session, 2 hours plus on Sunday, and they practiced their brains out, guys. It's probably the best practice we've had since I've been the coach here in terms of just effort. We went for 2 hours and 20 minutes the day before a game, and I, again, I thought if you were just going off practice, I thought we played great tonight. I thought we came out with the intention to, and then it just didn't happen for us, and then we got down. So, again, not pleased with our play tonight. Glad we found a way. It is a process, and this team's got a chance to be a really good team. I'm really I'm having fun coaching this team, even if I'm not having fun this week. But we need a day off. We'll take that tomorrow, and then we get a chance against a big time team. On Saturday, like we get a chance to compete against a big time team, a team that's going to play in the NCAA tournament. A team that's one of the best teams in college basketball, top 30, 40 team in college basketball, no matter how you look at it. So Saturday's a big opportunity for us, and I think these guys will be excited for that.
Coach Aziz has 4 blocks, season high, 23.9 defensive rating with him on the floor. Is this the kind of defensive impact we saw him having?
Yes, yes, and I think sometimes you got to put his development in perspective. This time last year was the first time he had ever had success at a high level, at any level of basketball on a basketball court. Like this time last year he was actually having some games at Utah Valley because the year before he was at Akron and didn't play. He wasn't even getting in the games, so his development is still early and new. And one of the things that I don't think he's ever been asked to do is guard anything but a center, right? So he's gotten pretty good at guarding the center, but now we're asking him to get out on the floor in a game like tonight and guard perimeter oriented players. I mean, Timberlake played the three at Memphis, guys, you know, and so he's got all the ability to do that, but he's learning it for the first time. Like, that's pretty fun as a coach to see a guy develop in front of you. Like in the Howard game, he was lost trying to do that. Tonight, he finally had some really good moments there in the second half, and that's what's neat when you're working with young people is like you can see them improving right in front of your eyes over a really short period of time. And we're seeing that with some of our young players. And I do think of Aziz in the basketball terms as a young player. But yeah, I still think he can play significantly better. And you look down, he's got 17 rebounds. So yeah, that he's having an impact, and he's a big time player.
You just said your message to the chaotic nature. What does it say that they're able to respond in practice, have that run first down?
Yeah, I spent halftime just talking about team. And he's right. We talk about responding every day. It's one of the four things I have on my wrist right here is how we respond. And then the part of that was we had to start thinking about our team. Like we have a lot of talent in that locker room and a lot of guys that are about the right stuff. But every night's not going to be everybody's night. And you could see the frustration with certain guys and how they were playing or how the game was going. Again, it wasn't the most fun game to coach because I didn't think we played great. It probably wasn't the most fun game for our fans to watch, but it's important for our team to continue to find ways to grow. And I think it was tonight to see we got to be a team first all the time. We can't ever get caught up in what's going on with ourselves, and that was the message at halftime more than anything. I didn't think it was about X and O's and adjustments. That's for sure.
So it seemed like Aziz really got going. Is that more due to the matchups or just Aziz handling?
Well, I think a couple things. I think it allowed him to kind of guard a non-shooting player. When he had to guard Withers in the first half, it was presenting some problems. Or anybody had, even Vic guarding Withers was presenting some problems. I think number seven's Withers. That was a matchup we were struggling with a little bit with those two guys. And again, I believe those two are good enough to do that. But it wasn't just him; it's the Timberlake nature and all that. I mean, all that together. But so I think getting him on, the right guy there, and then at the end of the game, they're a little tired and worn down because we're able to sub and play multiple guys, and they're not doing that to the same extent. So now all of a sudden, we're in spread action late with one big who's putting a lot of pressure on the rim, and CJ and CMOS are both out there spacing the floor. And so I do think some things opened up. It's usually people when they write stories, whatever, you want it to be one reason, but it's usually a handful of things culminating, and probably the right matchup defensively helped Aziz. Probably having a lot of spacing on the floor. Maybe Bryant's a little worn down and they're not covering as much ground. I think all that stuff probably impacted that run. I think it was a 30-5 run at the end.
Teams should have continued to foul. No.
I mean, if he's 8 to 12 from the free throw line every night, they're not. And he's actually got great touch. His form is a little non-traditional, but he's a good shooter. He actually can shoot threes a little bit. I mean, you guys you didn't believe me when I said about Vic, and I think everybody believes me now. Although he didn't shoot it very good on Saturday, but Aziz can shoot it. He's got great touch. I don't worry about him at all on the free throw line. He's going to make a lot of foul shots. You can see his misses are soft. He's a good shooter. He's going to be a 3-point shooter here at some point.
You guys shooting 37% from deep at home and 19% on the road. Is there any rhyme or reason to that? Is there anything you're seeing in the tape that's contributing to the splits like that, or is it just
How many games have we played at home? How many games we played on the road? Well, when we get a bigger sample size, there might be more. That data might matter a little more. So we'll figure it out. But if we hit 2 games or 2 games, we'll figure it out. This team's got the right stuff internally. This team will be good on the road, but we got to figure out how to do that. Saturday will be a test for us.
Two more? Nice.
Talk about his performance tonight, how he rebounded Saturday night, Thursday game.
He's such a good player that hasn't been playing well, and I think I'm saying that because he would tell you that. You know, he hasn't found his groove yet. He got into the injury cycle. You know, it's like he had 3 injuries back to back to back, so he wasn't practicing. I'm not making excuses because he's capable of playing better. But I think he's trying hard to figure it out, and it was good to see him have a stretch there in the second half where he figured it out. You know, to a certain extent. But he's a good player. He's going to have great games. He's going to have a great year. He hadn't kind of found his groove yet, and that's good for our team. Right? You know, guys aren't playing their best basketball yet. And, you know, we're still doing some things.
Class action lawsuit tomorrow in federal court. What is your understanding of the situation and what this potentially means for Jamil as far as the next steps?
My understanding is that 7 attorneys general filed a lawsuit uh, trying to get all the second-time transfers clear based on the rules kind of feeling. I don't want to use the wrong language here, but the rules not being clear and confusing and all that kind of stuff. I hate that it has to come to all this kind. You know, who wants it to get to this point? I don't like that. My perspective is this, guys. Jamil Reynolds is sitting over there, and like I've said this all year, and he doesn't understand why he's not playing. He's a really good player, really good kid, and he hadn't done anything wrong. And so um, he's a guy that could be affected by this in some way. So I'm pulling for Jamil because he's my guy. That's the truth. I'm gonna stand with my kids always. Um, and so from Jamil's perspective, I hate that I don't think it should have to come to this. I wish the NCAA just clear him because he deserves to be cleared. We still have not heard back on his appeal. I mean, yeah, it's amazing, right? We're in December now, so I hope it doesn't. I don't believe it should have to come to all this, but anything that would help Jamil get on the court, help him get to a good place, I am all for that.